Hello Team FD and welcome back to Winners and Losers, where we take a look at the highs and the lows from the football weekend just past. Joining me in the hot seat, it's DJ Elab, the D-O-G-G. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Sitting here in my Minecraft jumper. Not
Almost
too bad.
didn't spot you.
Hey!
Chat.
We have really good fun on this channel.
We do. And we're going to have really good fun. You are anyway. Talking about Chelsea as our first winners. Thank you to Cameron Smith, number 10, for sending this in. And if you guys want to hear all about European football, because this is going to be Premier League based, head over to ERU in an hour's time. But let's start at Stamford Bridge.
Yes, Chelsea produced arguably their most convincing win in the Frank Lampard era, thanks to a dominant 4-0 win over Everton at Stamford Bridge. Mason Mount found the net for the first time in 18 games with a lovely little touch and turn bottom corner finish before Pedro coolly slotted home, with Willie and Andrew both finding the net. In the second half, with Sheffield United and Manchester United both winning, it was an important victory for Lampard's side, who have produced mixed results over recent times, but stay 3 points clear of the Red Devils in 4th place. A big victory for them. For Everton, though, it was a miserable return to Stamford Bridge for Carlo Ancelotti, who saw his side register just 3 shots in the game, the Toffees' lowest in a Premier League game since December 2017. But enough about them. There's only one man we could talk about, the real star of the show, 18-year-old Billy Gilmour, the next Xavi, the next Iniesta, some say, who clearly savoured his first Premier League start. Listen to this.
Yeah, it was amazing. Dream come true to make my full debut in the Premier League, but most of all getting the 3 points and carrying on winning, and hopefully we continue that in the way forward.
Yeah, the Scottish youngster put in a bloody brilliant performance, didn't he, in the heart of a 3-man midfield. That is a lot of responsibility at 18, and he just handled it with aplomb, didn't he, completing a team-high 74 passes with a 92.5% pass accuracy, covering 12.6k in the midfield, over 1k more than his closest teammate. With Angerin and Broja also entering the field, Chelsea became the first Premier League side since May 2016 to field 3 players 18 or younger. Wow, showing further evidence of Lampard's faith in the youth. All in all, it was a really dominant display for Chelsea, who outshot their opponents 17-3, like Zach pointed out, completed 19 dribbles in the game, 10 more than Everton. So we have a look at those individual battles, and they were firmly in Chelsea's favour, weren't they? And one man who also stood out, aside from the Glaswegian Fabregas, was Ross Barkley, who had a 98% pass success rate and registered 2 assists. That first pass as well, lovely. I'm sure Gareth Southgate is loving his form. Started in consecutive games, these consecutive minutes really helping him. Was this his best display in a Chelsea shirt?
100%. He was fantastic today. Even the dirty work as well, putting in the tackles with Mason, getting back, helping his team. He's been fantastic. And considering Chelsea going through a bit of an injury crisis, he's really stepped up to the plate. And he's only 26.
Pressing, harrying, coming to the fore, isn't he? Big time. I mean, Jordan Pickford still had to make 7 saves in this game, so it could have been ugly, couldn't it? The result now means that Everton have dropped down to 12th in the table on 37 points. Crystal Palace have actually overtaken them, which is pretty dire stuff, isn't it? Well, this was the first time in 12 games they failed to score under Carlo Ancelotti. That eyebrow will be permanently raised until they secure their next 3 points, won't it? They face Liverpool as well in a week's time. Ugh, that is the most one-sided derby in the history of football. While Chelsea go away to Aston Villa for a late kick-off on Saturday. They, of course, play against Leicester tonight as well, which you can watch on Sky Sports Monday Night Football. Guys, who do you think is going to secure Champions League football? Let us know in the comments below.
Just before we move on to our first loser, if you're not already subscribed to Football Daily, what are you doing? Please help us out, smash that red button and the notification bell so you never miss a video. We've got a lot coming in 2020.
Yeah, baby.
The first loser, though, comes from @AaronMcGurk03. And they have said Manchester City.
Yeah, the citizens succumbed to a 2-0 derby defeat at Old Trafford, didn't they? With the host capitalising on 2 absolutely woeful goalkeeping errors from Ederson. Anthony Martial's volley gave United the lead around the half-hour mark, didn't it? Don't know how he's let that in at his near post. It's kind of gone through his hands, crisp packet wrists, before Scott McTominay settled the tie in the final minutes of the match, punishing the Brazilian for poor distribution. Manchester City, as a result, suffered their 7th defeat of the Premier League campaign, the most defeats in a single league season that Pep Guardiola has suffered throughout his trophy-laden managerial career. It's also Pep's 3rd defeat to Manchester United in all competitions this term, and the first time that the Red Devils have done a league double over them since when, Zach?
I don't know, 09, 010?
Yeah,
09,
that is
010?
correct, mate. Well done. If you hadn't got that right, that'd have been very poor from you. Sir Alex Ferguson's last season, that was. United have been in fine form of late, haven't they? Going unbeaten in their last 10 games, 7 victories, 3 draws, their longest run without defeat since OGS's first 11 games in charge. So finally rediscovering some form. And they were good value for their win as well. Despite only having 28% possession,
Wow.
they took 12 shots, put 6 on target, City only managing 7, which is
Damning.
extremely low for them in total, hitting the target just 4 times. As a result, XG also favouring Manchester United, so this wasn't a smash and grab. The underlying numbers suggest the home side deserved it. They executed a game plan extremely well, didn't they? With 1.7 to the visitors' 0.6 on XG. Like you said, that is pretty damning. That isn't just Manchester City. You know, in a lot of games this season, they've failed to get the points, but they've been unfortunate. Like against Tottenham, for example. In this game, they were just genuinely bad. Let's see what OGS had to say after the game.
Well, the desire, attitude, commitment, the connection between fans and players and the team, because what a day they've had today, both the players and the fans. It's been, of course, they make us defend. That's just that type of team they are, but our fans can see players with commitment and attitude and desire, then we've done our job then as a coach today.
We're getting used to saying it now, but Bruno Fernandes impressed once more with 1 assist, 3 shots, 3 key passes and 3 interceptions. Now, since making his debut in the Premier League, Bruno has been directly involved in more goals than any other player across the league. 5, 2 goals and 3 assists. And only Liverpool have gained more Premier League points with 12 than United's 11 since he arrived in January. What a January signing he's been. Martial was also great in the game. He had 22 touches, 4 inside the opposition's box, had 4 shots, 3 on target, which were a game high. He becomes the first Man United player to score both home and away against City in a single Premier League season since a certain Cristiano Ronaldo back in 06-07.
Pretty sure they were rubbish then as well.
Wan-Bissaka was also very solid in this game with 3 dribbles, 58 touches and 11 tackles and interceptions. It's ridiculous. All team highs. As for City, Aguero, which we're not used to saying, was poor. He had just 2 touches in the opposition's box and he didn't manage a single shot.
Contained.
Though I do think he was onside. I'm going to put it out there.
Okay.
What do you guys think, though? Please let us know in the poll above. In fact, City just had 1 attempt on United's goal in the first half. Their lowest tally in the first half of a Premier League game since 2018 against Liverpool. Zinchenko and his replacement Mendy also had a torrid afternoon, getting dribbled past 5 times between them, while Sterling was also dispossessed 5 times. He's had a torrid second half of the season. City, though, will have to bounce back on Wednesday at home to Arsenal, while United will have another tasty affair away to Spurs on Sunday. Again, you can watch that on Sky Sports.
Rounding off our winners section then, it's Carabini_10 who's put Sheffield United in our winners section. But let's blast through this fairly quickly because I want to talk about Tottenham as losers.
Yes, they beat Norwich 1-0 at home, lifting them to 7th place in the league, and probably the only story to shout about on Saturday's 3 p.m. games. There were just 4 goals scored in the 3 p.m. Premier League matches. The only Saturday with fewer goals at this time slot was back in November 24th. 2001.
Stats.
So not a lot there.
Numbers.
Now 34-year-old Billy Sharp was the goal scorer. He has now scored 4 goals in his last 3 appearances against Norwich in the league. The captain scored with his only shot and has now netted twice in his last 3 Premier League appearances after scoring just once in his first 17.
Go on, Billy.
Dean Henderson, though, was one of the standout performers in this. The 22-year-old made 4 saves in this game, including that amazing goal-mouth scramble. If you've not seen it, check it out on Twitter.
So amazing, you couldn't get your words out, wasn't it?
I was that impressed. He now has 10 clean sheets this season, 1 off top spot Nick Pope, and has only conceded 22 goals this campaign.
That's crazy.
He's also had a pretty good defence in front of him as well. Chris Wilder was delighted with the result and is enjoying his ride in the Premier League.
Well, you've said European football. We're just rolling on. We're enjoying life in the Premier League. And it's obviously, every result is huge for us as a newly promoted side, but especially at this stage of the season, and 3 big points today.
Let's talk very briefly about Norwich then, because, shock horror, they're still having a horrible time. Rock bottom, 4 points off Villa, but the Villains do have 2 games in hand, and their beacon of light, Timu Pukki, hasn't scored since that consolation goal against Tottenham back in January. Can count themselves pretty unfortunate not to get something from this game though. Dominated possession with around 60%, had more shots with 12, 5 on target to Sheffield's total of 10, 4 on target. Edged the Blades on XG, I think, with around 1.3 to 1.2. But, I mean, when the numbers are that fine, it can swing either way. I suppose one positive we can hone in on is that Norwich have gifted around 7,000 minutes to players 21 and younger in the Premier League. So whatever happens this season, that is going to set them up really well for future campaigns, isn't it? If they can retain the core of that young, hungry side. I mean, very contrasting seasons. We don't really need to go over this. Well-trodden ground by now. This is a side that pipped Sheffield United to the Championship title last campaign. Maybe the neutral would have thought they stood a better chance of staying up. That's not been the case. They've got quite a tricky next 3 games as well. Southampton, of course, will be keen to bounce back after bottoming out in the last 5 games. Arsenal and then Brighton. While Sheffield United have Newcastle, Spurs and then Burnley. So tough for both sides in reality. Can the Blades secure European football though, guys? Are we backing them for a Europa League place? Let us know in the comments below.
I do love saying this. It's Tottenham Hotspur in our losers now, and it comes from @Firmino's Fantasy. Why was that Hamill?
What a dreadful handle, by the way. Get that changed. Thank you for sending it in, though. Again, look out for the tweet on Sunday night if we didn't read yours out today. Yes, it was the 100th league meeting. I think everyone was aware of that. Clash of the Titans between these 2 clubs. And the stakes were extremely high, weren't they? Even if the quality turned out to be low. Now, if Burnley had secured the win, they would have leapfrogged Mourinho's men in the table. And if Spurs lost, it would have consigned the Portuguese manager to 5 losses in a row for the first time in his managerial career. The result? Neither. It was a game of attrition, wasn't it? Both sides dominating one half of football, eventually sharing the spoils in a 1-1 draw at Turf Moor. Now, prior to the game, Dyche's men had gone unbeaten in 6 league encounters, beating Leicester, United and drawing with Arsenal. Last losing to Chelsea actually on the 11th of January when you slapped them about. And the 3 points actually looked pretty likely here when Chris Wood gave them the lead with his 11th goal of the season, turning in from close range after a poor clearance from Eric Dyer, who was suspect. In the first half, he produced a few of those moments, and a fumble from Lurie. Now, subsequently, Wood became only the 3rd Burnley striker to net over 10 Premier League goals in the club's history in a single season. Of course, not spent that many years in the top flight, have they? Who are the other 2? Let us know in the comments below. Hardly a surprise, though. The 28-year-old New Zealander was running riot in this fixture. 6 shots, 4 aerial duels won, 2 clearances, and he laid on 2 chances for his teammates. He did lose the ball more than any other player on the pitch. He lost it 8 times. But I think that's more an indication of the responsibility he has in that team. Around 1 in 5 of Burnley's passes went long, and he's expected to get on the end of the majority of those. And he does it really bloody well, doesn't he? Really woody well. But he would have been delighted with the service of young Dwight McNeil. I mean, everyone else was sending it long to him. Dwight McNeil, a bit more cultured than that. He was finding decent little areas to exploit in this game and was probably the first half's best player. His 90 looked like this. 6 dribbles completed with a 100% success rate, 3 tackles and interceptions, and 2 chances created. But then Jose goes and makes a couple of subs.
Yeah, and thank God he did. Those 2 subs proved decisive, bringing Skip and the much maligned Ndombele off for Lucas Moura and Gio Lo Celso. Why they weren't starting is beyond me.
Fitness.
In 45 minutes, record signing Ndombele lost the ball twice, failed to create any chances and did not make a single tackle, with only 17 of his 32 passes completed in the opposition half. This is what he had to say on the player after the game.
I hope that he uses every minute on the pitch and every minute knowing what the Premier League is to improve. There are many fantastic players that in first seasons in new countries, for different reasons, they struggle. There are many examples of it. So he's a player with a great talent, and he has to know that he has to do much better, and he has to know that I cannot keep giving him opportunities to play, because the team is more important than the players.
By comparison, his midfield counterpart Lo Celso put up 2 shots, created 1 chance, and 32 of his 40 passes were in the opposition half as he drove his team up the pitch with much more urgency than the Frenchman. In fact, one of his shots may be quite unlucky not to kind of curl it in. He was also crucial in the build-up to Spurs' equaliser, slipping in Lamela, who was then fouled by Ben Mee in the area.
I loved Ben Mee's reaction afterwards. He was like, and there was a little nod there to the ref. Like,
he understood. Dele Alli stood up, took the penalty and reached the 50-goal milestone for Tottenham in the Premier League. Only the 7th player to do so and the 2nd youngest after Harry Kane. And it's also worth noting Spurs were fortunate not to concede their own penalty when Davinson Sanchez came through the back of Chris Wood. Dyche was not happy about it post-match.
It's got to be careful, I think. I really do. I think the game's got to be careful at the minute, and the powers that be need to look at what's going on, because you can't not get a decision because you're trying to play the game correctly. I don't think you can do that. That's wrong. Obviously, we all know that. So they've got to look at that, and I think today was a good example of that. Chris Wood fouled in the box, definite foul. If that's anywhere else on the pitch, it's given us a foul, and yet it's not in the box today.
Also, had it not been for a timely intervention by Alderweireld, Spurs may have even lost the game.
Yeah, on Vidra.
However, it wasn't him that shone defensively for the Lily Whites. Despite being played at right wing-back, Japhet Tanganga took 3 shots, completed 3 dribbles, won 6 aerial duels and completed 3 tackles. Perhaps the game's standout player in a 1-1 dull affair. Spurs now face a huge week, facing off against Leipzig in the Champions League away and then Manchester United on Sunday, while Burnley have the small matter of Manchester City to face on Saturday. Though with Man City's form, they may do them. You never know.
Dyche voodoo, baby.
Hamill, that is the end of winners and losers. What should the lovely people at home go and do now, though?
Should go and watch One of Our Own, our brand new series that came out on Saturday. It's received a lot of love, which I do really appreciate. It's us trying something a little bit more detailed. We took our time with it, basically. It's not a top 10, but, you know, top 10s, put a bit of respect on them, because it's because of top 10s we get to do that sort of stuff.
Indeed.
So go and watch the top 10 as well. Anything else?
Go check out ERU in an hour on Europe Football Daily, and we'll see you tomorrow.